2 billion people in the world are food insecure. Food insecurity is not knowing if you'll have enough food to eat today, tomorrow, or if you're a farmer, when food from your harvest runs out. The most extreme form of food insecurity is famine. If I'm food secure, I always have enough calories and the right kinds of food to lead a healthy and active life. Floods and drought make farmers vulnerable to losing their source of food or income overnight. Conflict forces people to flee their homes and reduces the amount of food farmers can grow. International trade rules can hurt local farmers and entrepreneurs by putting them out of business and cutting jobs. Most poor farmers don't own the land they farm and risk losing it. When governments don't invest enough in local agriculture, countries produce less food and depend more on imported food. The poor spend up to 80% of their earnings on food, so any rise in food prices means they have to cut back on the number of meals they eat. If you grow up without enough food, your body is weaker and you'll find it harder to escape poverty. Your kids are likely to grow up hungry too. But the world produces more than enough food to feed everyone. The challenge is to make sure everyone can access it.
Okay, there is no doubt that food insecurity is a terrible worldwide injustice. But honestly, when was the last time you witnessed a scene like this in Buffalo Grove? The answer, more than likely, is never. If you're anything like me, when you think of Buffalo Grove, the image that comes to mind is probably something like this: healthy, happy, well-dressed, and well-adjusted individuals. So the question is, how does food insecurity relate to you in your life and in our community? Isn't food insecurity a problem of communities half a world away? Honestly, the answer is no. In reality, there are families who struggle with food insecurity in every part of America. Moreover, there are families all over Illinois, Lake County, and Buffalo Grove who are not sure where their next meal might come from.
There are 16 million children in our country who are at risk of hunger. In California, that's 2.5 million kids. In Texas, it's 1.9 million. Even in North Dakota, the nation's most food-secure state, 1 in 10 children faces hunger. But how many of these kids live in your community? How many of them live next door? A study conducted by Feeding America examines child food insecurity at a local level and found that no county in the United States is free from child hunger. For example, in Zavala County, Texas, 1 in 2 kids is food insecure. Even in Santa Barbara County, California, nearly 25% of children are at risk of hunger. In fact, there are almost 1,200 counties in the U.S. where more than 1 in 4 kids faces hunger. Unfortunately, federal programs in place to fight hunger can't meet the need. And some kids don't even qualify to receive assistance, like 10,000 food insecure children in Loudoun County, Virginia. Feeding America's report, Map the Meal Gap: Child Food Insecurity, gives users a unique opportunity to look at trends in food insecurity, especially among children. Visit feedingamerica.org for the full report and use our interactive map to see how many children are hungry in your community.
Later, you will have the opportunity to hear about how food insecurity impacts District 102 in the greater Buffalo Grove area specifically. But first, it is important to understand how food insecurities can impact a person's life. The effects of food insecurity go far beyond just being hungry. As you watch this next clip, think about how much of an impact food insecurity has on our community, and think about how you can address this issue that affects us all.
What if you didn't know where your next meal was coming from? If you only had a few dollars to feed your entire family, what would you do? Today, 1 in 6 Americans is food insecure. That means 49 million people in the U.S. lack consistent access to enough nutritious food for an active, healthy life. People cope with food insecurity in a variety of ways, such as purchasing inexpensive, filling foods that provide high calorie content but little nutritional value. Additionally, some overeat at times when food is available to compensate for feeling hungry when their fridge is bare. Many of these strategies have health implications. People experiencing food insecurity are often at the highest risk for long-term health conditions, such as diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. More than half of households served by the Feeding America network have at least one member with high blood pressure, and 1/3 have at least one member with diabetes. Managing these conditions means a delicate balancing act with one's budget and health. When these get out of balance, it can lead to a cycle that is difficult to escape. For many, the cycle begins when a person lacks enough nutritious food. Poor nutrition and increased stress can result in poor disease management, which leads to increased complications and health emergencies. Medical care and medications result in increased expenses, which compete for a larger portion of the overall household budget and leave less money for essential nutrition. This causes the cycle to continue. So what can we do to break the cycle and build healthy, strong communities in the process? Food banks and pantries are one place to address both food security and related health challenges. But it also takes federal health and nutrition programs, community members and partners, health professionals and policymakers, and advocates like you. We can all take steps to address the needs of our food insecure neighbors and work together to support healthy and stable lives. This is just the beginning. Improving health outcomes for those who experience food insecurity requires creativity, commitment, and collaboration. It's a solution that requires you. Together, we can solve hunger while promoting health.